This is a short tutorial on word processing and how to make a CV. We're going to do this in the program Word. Usually you will find Word down here on the dock. You can see there W Microsoft Word over it. If you can't find Word on your dock, if you go to this spotlight here, this magnifying glass, and type in Word, it will come up on this list, drop down menu, and in Applications, just double click Microsoft Word and it will open. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to cover, here is sort of a rough version of a CV. We will start off with a cover page with your name, curriculum vitae, and a horizontal line. The second page, which we will do last, but it will come onto the second page, is the table of contents, which gives a list of all the different headings in our document. Page 3 is contact details, your name, phone number, address, etc., and your previous experience in education. You'll then go down to work experience, followed by key skills. Once you get past all of that, you might have a list of the exhibitions that you've been involved in and the references, people who would give you a reference. Then you will have appendices, which will be photographs of the artwork that you've done, to give some examples, and that will be with text, and that is your overall document. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to walk through the steps that I did when I was creating this document. So I'm going to start off by going to File, New Blank Document. So I come up with this new blank document, and the first thing that I want to do is to set these margins. So you can see here that blue means that I can only work within that blue and that blue area on the page, and that's just a little bit not big enough for me at the moment. So I'm going to go to Layout here, which is on this menu here. I'm going to be using these 4 drop-down tabs: Home, Layout, Document Elements, and Tables. But at the moment we're just going into Layout, and here is Margins. So I drop that down, and what I'm looking for is narrow. See narrow there? And what that does is it makes the margins narrower and gives me more room to work in. All right, so I'm going to type in my name. I'm going to go down a bit and then I'm going to type in curriculum vitae. Sorry. And what I want to do now is select that. I want to go into Home here, this drop-down menu. That gives me access to the type of font I want. I'm going to use Cambria Body. I want to make it the 26, so that'll make it bigger. And I want to center it, so I go here to center it, center text. And I'm going to put the insertion point just in front of it and drop it down a bit so it's not too high on the page. I'm going to select that. I'm going to make that about 20. Again, I'm going to center it. Maybe make the, I'm hitting the return key here, and I'm going to put it after that. And I want to just put a horizontal line. And there's a couple of ways to do this, but the best way I've found is if I go into this little box here that says borders and I drop down and I hit that one bottom, it gives me a horizontal line. Now there's one more thing I want to do on this first page, and that is to make a page break, insert a page break. So in order to do that, I've got to get my insertion point down to the bottom of the page. So I double click it there. In order to get it, otherwise if I hit return it makes it do that. If I hit once it doesn't do anything, so I've got to double click twice. So I look at the end of the page, bring it down to the end of the page, and then I go insert, break, page break. So that's my first page done, and you can see I'm onto my second page. Now on the second page I want information. I'll just go and show you here what I'm looking for, give you an idea. Sorry, I'm going to do the second page last, as I said. So we're jumping onto page 3, even though we're on page 2 here. But you can see here that I've got information on one side and on the other side. And there's different ways to do this. I've found 3 ways to do it. One is by using tabs, one is by using columns, and how I'm going to do it is with tables. Now, if you're familiar with any of those methods, I don't mind what you use. I'm just going to show you what I think is an easiest way to do it. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to type curriculum, vitae. I'm going to put CV in brackets. And I'm going to come down a couple of bits and then put personal details. Now I can go back and organize this in a minute because I'll want this to the left of the page. So, okay, I'll select both of them at the same time and I go here. This one here will make all the information go to the left. And I'm not going to bother about, you can see on my original one it's blue, but I'll explain why that is and how I did that later. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Come down here. Now I want to introduce a table, and that's our 4th. You go over here, home, layout, document elements and tables. I'm going to click tables, and over here on the left is new table. That's a little table. And I'm going to pick 2 boxes, and this opens up here. Now I'm going to type in name, I'm going to go down there and go address, fictitious address, obviously, so you won't all be calling up for dinner. And I'm going to just go down there, give a space, and then do DOB, which is date of birth. And again, I'm going to give a fictitious date of birth. All right. So I'm going to come over here. I want to do other contact information, so telephone. So you can see that here it sort of formats all the information. It doesn't jump around on me. MOB, already, yeah, the mobile phone. And give a space and then email. This occasion I'm going to give a real email. All right, so that is the first part of my document done there. Now there's 2 things I want to do. One is I want to double space there, and I want to put in another horizontal line. So I have access to borders here, but I think originally we did it here. So I just got back to home, and here it's the same thing. Put in bottom. Now the thing about this box is I can leave this here if I want, or I can make it invisible. So I'm going to make it invisible. I'm going to click that. You can see it going blue there. I'm going to go into this same box here, which is about borders, and say no borders. So now it looks like it's been formatted. I would just say that at the moment I have this clicked here, which is show all non-printing characters. Just as every time I hit return, it gives a mark. I can take them away so we can see what the document is going to look like. But sometimes it's handy to have them so that I can understand what I'm doing. So okay, so I'm going to double click to get beyond the horizontal line, and I'm going to go to tables and make a new table. And again, I'm just going to pick 2 boxes. So you always start with the present. So from 2001 to the present, what was I doing? This is the question. So I'm going to double click there to give myself a bit of space. I'm going to go in here, going to go to the end of that line and return. I'm going to say in college, being in college, in the University of Life, what level was that course? So obviously different people will have different information to put in here. I'm just showing you the kind of the formatting. So when I get to here, what I want to do now is I want to go back to home. So you can see I have to keep moving backwards and forwards from these tabs. And here I've got what's called a bulleted list. And if I press there, I can pick, I want to just do that. So that's going to give me this little black spot. And what was our major in philosophy? Minor in theory. Module 1 English. I'm just putting down stuff now just to fill out the space. Module 2 French. So you can see the idea of how I'm laying that out. And again, I can go in here and, sorry about that, I can just drop that box down and go none. And so it gives me this overall information. Now, I'm going to do 3 or 4 of them because what we need is, sorry, I should have put education up here, I missed that out. Just to put that there, and I will come back to that in a second. But we need 3 or 4 of these. So there's different ways I can do it. I can just repeat what I've done, or I can copy that, come down here. I can copy and then paste it in. So what I can do now is say I'm going back in time. So this is my school. Where did I go to school? Change this. So 99 to 2001. So okay. So I can put in the address, give information, whatever that is, and I can put in the various different things that I did. So I did English, Irish, maths, science. So art, of course I did art, didn't I? Now, again, I want to. So now, okay, just took a little break there and I'm back. I'm going to put in a page break there. So if I go insert, break, page break. So you can see the page break is there. Now, really, the next pages are all repeat of that. So I'm going to go through it very fast because there's no point in you sitting here watching this with me repeating the same thing. So if we look at this, what we're going to do is we can look at some of the headings. You can see key skills, planning and organization, reliability and responsibility, communication, etc. They're all different things that you go down. List of exhibitions and shows, group exhibitions and references. So essentially they're all formatted in exactly the same way as what I've been, how I've been doing it. Essentially that's just typed in. I haven't actually used any tables or anything like that. And I've been putting in the page break and the horizontal line just in the same way. So I'm going to jump down to the next, the last page and call it appendices. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce the idea of bringing in photographs. There's a couple of things to do with photographs that we need to learn. So I find the easiest way to do this is to go to the tables document and lay out a table with 9 boxes. And I want to put a photograph into this one. So I go across here and, sorry, I'm just going to put that there, and I go insert, photo, picture from file. So I just have some pictures here that are accessed. So you go through the document for wherever your photographs are and you insert that and it comes in this way. Now we can change this image, we can make it bigger, smaller, we can arrange text around it, etc. We can crop it. But you can see that it's sort of sitting in the right place. So I'm going to put my insertion point in this last box, leaving a box between them. And I'm going to say insert photo, picture from file. And I'm going to go down here and get another screen image. So now I have two images on my page. And if I want, I can put my insertion point in there, press return, and I can write some information. So information about image. Perhaps one good thing to put would be the size of the image. So like whether it's 100 by 200 millimeters or whatever it is. So it gives you an idea. This would be really important to let people know what size that your work is. And there we can put more information. And again, size. Okay. And then I'm going to, I might have just run out a little bit of space there, so I'm just going to bring that up so that I can put in a page break. Page break. So my document is more or less complete now. I just have one, well, no, sorry, I have a couple of things to do. One is, now that I've brought in this image, I was saying I can make changes. Well, one change I want to make, I double click it, and what I want to do is make that image smaller. So I go into compress, and it gives me a drop-down menu here. And what I want to do is I'm going to send this by email, or you're going to send this to me by email. So you want to go in and make it as small as possible. So you say OK. Do the same here, compress for email, and that compresses down the size of the image and makes it smaller. The other thing I want to do is I want to take away the boxes as I have before, the borders, so that I don't, those images just like they're sitting there. Right, the last thing I want to do is this table of contents. And I'll go back here and show you. Now, I'm not going to be able to do it, all of the headings here, because I haven't put them all in my new document, just to save your time, really. What I have here is a table of contents, and it gives me a list of all the key headings that I have in my document. And this is really, really important when you are doing your seminar paper, your thesis, etc., which won't be very long away. There is a way of taking all the information of the chapters and bringing it up into the first page or second page of your document. So, just want to check which document I have. So that's my original document. So this is the document I'm working on. So I've selected CV and I pick heading 1. I go into personal details. I want that a little bit smaller, so I choose heading 2, education, heading, sorry, go back to there, heading 2. So I go down through all my headings, deciding where I want them and what size I want them. Appendix, I'm just going to do heading 1 here for that. And then I come back up to the top. And just before that curriculum vitae, I do an insertion point. And now I go to my my document elements page and see heading 1, heading 2. If I click here, it gives me a table of contents, and it's that easy. Now I want to make this page all on its own, so I put the insertion point before that, press return until I bring that information down onto a new page, and then go in here and say insert page break. So that's how I do a table of contents. Now the interesting thing about a table of contents is that if I change anything, so for example, if you look at appendices, I'm going to go down, tells you the name of the page, etc., but I'm going to go down to appendices here, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just add the number 2, and then I'm going to click there, and when I go back to the start of it, you'll see that appendices 2 comes up. So it means that any changes I make in the document are captured live. Okay, so I've put in a wrong page there. So I just need to, okay, that should be just down the bottom of that page. So there's one more thing okay, just need to bring that up. So at the end of it, just check your document for spelling, corrections, anything like that. Make sure the formatting is all okay. So the last thing that I need to do is I need to reduce this file to make it as small as possible. So I go File, Reduce File Size. And again, I have a choice, which is similar to when I was compressing the images. How small do I want it? So I say best for sending an email. And I click OK. Now, I'm going to save this file out to my desktop. I'm going to save it as Kevin Gill CV today. Put it on the desktop for a minute so I can show you. And I say save. Now, when I click on that there, if I go File, Get Info, it tells me the size of the file. So you can see that that's 828 kilobytes. And your document has to be smaller than 2 megabytes. So this is just, it's not even 1 megabyte at the moment. So therefore it falls in to the requirements. So that's how you check whether your document is under 2 megabytes. So that's the end of this tutorial. I hope that you find it helpful. You can always ask me questions if you're not understanding something.